Hey guys, here's a quick video on the things that I showed in class. I'll get right to it. Here he's, the simple bot is playing random idles, and the head turns can go from 50% of the speed or up to 1.5%, maybe even a little bit more personality. And this is how that was set up. So if we go into our Anim blueprint, and we go to our bot idle. Got the idle to walk, to run with the idle also here in this blend space. Same blend space as we've done. But you start out on the bot idle, and in the bot idle I'm using this random sequence player node. And that's a nifty node because if you click on it, you can come over here and just add elements. And so I added 3 of my idles. So one way to randomize the blinking would be to just add different variations of the same idle with a blink and not a blink. You can give it chances to play, minimum loop count, so the main idle is going to loop at least once and maybe twice, same speed, whereas the idle left and right, they're not going to loop unless that animation played again. Well, actually they can loop once, but they don't have to loop. Minimum play rate is 0.5, maximum 1.5. So that's what I'm doing with the random sequence thing, and so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Still working on wanting to solve the random blinking and in all states, and that's something that I plan to spend more time on, but not so much in class, at least right now. We're going to move on. So anyway, that's that. And a few people have had problems with exporting animations, so recorded a short video and I will include that here. So what you need for Monday is to be up to this point and have your animations looking as polished as possible, and I'll have you submit your Unreal project and we'll look at them in class, and then we'll get on to rigging. And I hope to have some videos for that ready to go early next week so that we can not waste any time. So anyway, thanks for your patience, thanks for all your hard work. Looking forward to seeing your final files. See you Monday. Bye. Oh, and I'm going to follow this with the video I made in my office the other day regarding scripts and such. Okie doke, in this video, kind of download the scripts here and talk about ways to use them. As I have seen a couple of instances where in Maya where namespaces have been an issue. And I don't know if I thoroughly covered that. So here's the files. And so what you want to do is make sure that they are installed here under Documents, Maya, in this case Maya 2008, and Scripts. And I do have them installed there. So since they are installed, when I started Maya, they should be sourced and Maya should recognize them. So I'm going to pull up the script editor here and going to clear everything and then just type in the file and see if Maya recognizes it. Okay, let me try this. Well, I'm just going to run it. Okay, so Maya does recognize it because it's looking at line 26 and it needs an argument. So that's good. So the way to make this script work would be to just drop it up there on the shelf. Same thing for the other one, bsInPlace. Put them up on the shelf. And I'm going to right click, edit, and over here on the shelves I can just give it an icon label. Easy bake. IP for in place. Save all shelves. So now I'm going to import this file that I'm going to try to use. And in my import options, sometimes this is a problem. So the default for importing files is to use namespaces. Now what namespaces are, it's like the prefix of the name of the file. So I generally turn namespaces off. But I'll leave it on. I'm going to say import, and I'm going to grab the file in question here. Okay, so the file comes in, and it's got this namespace on it. And so what we need to do is remove the namespace. So the way you can do that is go into Windows, General Editors, Namespace Editor. And so here's this namespace. So I'm just going to click on that, say delete, merge with root. And so now I've deleted that wacky namespace and everything's named correctly. Apparently the script doesn't like the namespace when it puts colons or pipes in the name. So under the skull group there should be this head joint that we need to grab. Let's see what's going on with the root joint. Okay, so the root joint was for the referenced character, so that's all good. Okay, so the way to run the script is you just click on head after removing the namespace, set your playback, and is that the right playback range? Okay, so select the head, run easy bake, and that bakes out everything. Deletes everything except for the root, so I'm going to delete that now. And then the next step is just going to be to select the head again and run in place, and you're ready to rock and roll. And if you haven't done those steps, there's a chance that if you've baked them out on your own, there's a chance that keyframes might go in and out of the range. And I saw an error where a student had an error with the inputs, or pardon me, with the tangents on the curves. So if you bake them out using these scripts, everything's going to work appropriately. The script's smart enough to know your play range and the top level of your character. So theoretically, the script could work for other characters as well. I have noticed, though, in some instances that the first frame, sometimes there's an issue on the Z, and I think we're seeing it here. So I'm not exactly sure why that happens. So what I'm going to do is just grab these and just move them up so that there's not a big or I'm going to undo that, and I'm just going to take this one and move it down so that there's not a big pop there at the beginning. Okay, so then you also need to check to make sure that drop the end on the name of the toe, and I probably ought to make maybe add a line to do that in the script, because that was my bad. I didn't realize it, and that will give you an error in Maya. So now it's ready to export. So I'm going to grab the character root, select the hierarchy, File, Export, Selection, and I would export it to an export directory so that you've got working files and exported files. Jump start, and that'll automatically give it the FBX. And you might get a warning about constraints, and you can ignore that. And this file will be good to go. So if anybody's having any issues with getting your animations in, if you follow this, I will give you a 90% guarantee that it's going to work. Okay, here I've got the master file, the SimpleBot, loaded here, and so I need to prep it for Unreal. So what I will do is just run the same script on it. Actually, no, I won't, because that'll strip it of its mesh, so I don't want to do that. So going to go to the controller group, and I'm just going to delete that because I don't have anything else parented to it. And by doing that, that wasn't good because I lost the bot's eye rotation. So what I'm going to do is go into the skeleton group, going to select the head. I'm going to select the hierarchy. Let's select hierarchy right there. Select hierarchy, and I'm going to create a keyframe on frame 0 with the S key for all of the joints in the scene. And so now if I go to the control group, I can delete everything, and I'll keep everything intact. The bot group contains the mesh, so I can keep that. The skeleton group, I am going to take that out of the skeleton group, and I'm going to delete that. Using the middle mouse button to move things, parent things. And I'm going to need to create the going to have to recreate the joint structure to match the animations that were exported. So I'm going to need to make a new joint. Need to go to rigging, skeleton, create joints. And I'm going to go to wireframe mode here, and I'm going to hold down X, or just click on the grid snapping. I'm going to make a joint right at the origin. Enter. Rename the joint to care root. And I'll take the head, middle mouse drag it on top, and so that is now a child of the character root. I'm also going to rename the right toe end, the left toe end. The reason that doesn't work is because they both share the same name. Maya deals with it differently than Unreal does, so it's got to be a unique joint name. Okay, so I don't need this plane in my scene anymore. And so now I can export the character. It does have constraints on it, like some of the other animations that we've exported. It's not a big deal though. All I've got to do is just grab this constraint and delete it. So I will select both the character root and the bot group. File, export selection. Yeah, I should do hierarchy. So select hierarchy. File. Before I do that, it's not a big deal, but I do want to change the radius of that joint to match the radius of the other joints. So select them both. File. Select hierarchy. File. Actually, first I should save this as a Maya file. Save scene as. Let's go to make a working folder. This is how I would handle your scenes. Call it simple bot game ready. In case you ever need to re-export it or bring it back into Maya. And now I'll say file, export, selection, as a FBX into the export and just call it simple bot. And you can ignore the constraints. I'm going to come into Unreal and I can open up my content directory here, make a new folder, character, import, Brandon is now famous. So simple bot. And it is a skeletal mesh. Do you want to import the mesh? I'm not putting it on an existing skeleton, so I'll say import all. And it's complaining about UVs and such, but that's not an issue because I didn't have UVs to start. But I did get my shaders. I got my character with the skeleton, and it automatically creates a physics asset. So I can save all of that. And then I could back up and make a animations directory. And now we can import the jump start animation. Here we're going to choose the skeletal mesh on the bot skeleton that exists. And that works, and then we can double click on it, get into Persona to see if it works, and sure enough it does. So I think I'm taking that 90% guarantee and I'm bumping it up to 91. So thanks for playing. Have fun. Bye.